Happy New Year, everyone. It's Mike here at Game From Scratch. I hope you all had an excellent holiday, and now things are starting to, get a little bit back to normal. Things are still pretty lazy. My household is still pretty full with people that aren't working, including mostly myself. So I apologize about the slowness going on, but truth of the matter is the game development world pretty much shuts down around the Christmas time, and this holiday has been an especially long one, it seems. But things are starting to happen. Things are coming out. There's new developments happening, and one of such new developments is Tiled 1.1 was released. Now, Tiled is a great little product. I've featured it in the past. In fact, I have a full-blown tutorial system already in place. I will link to that down below in the comments if you are interested in learning more. Tiled, if you have not heard of it, is an open-source map editor, and the key thing is 1.1 was just released and actually added quite a few new features. One of the biggest new features is you can now have an infinitely sized map. Before, you could basically create your map and say 65 by 65 tiles, and then if you needed to make it bigger, you used a resize tool. Now you can basically just grow it as you need it. It just expands the memory as it goes. Very cool thing. Now, before I get too much further into this video, first off, again, I've already done a tutorial series on Tiled, so I'm just going to look at it very, very briefly today. Some of the new functionality, just kind of show it to you, and I'll link again down below. Another purpose behind this video is I've just recently upgraded my own suite. I'm recording this at 4K, and I'm testing to see if there is any value whatsoever in a 4K video release over a traditional 1080p. And personally, I probably don't think there is, but I'm curious to see how much work it is, how much upload time it adds, how much video processing time it adds, and I'm interested in hearing from you guys as well. Is there any value to you about 4K? Perhaps not in this particular video, but in future ones. Let me know if you actually appreciate the additional resolution, if it's worth the extra effort or not. And that probably also means I'm going to screw this video up in major new ways. I don't know if there's any kinks to producing 4K video over 1080p video, so we shall find out. Alright, so back to it. Tiled 1.1 has been released. Again, infinite maps are available. Another new feature is Wang Tiles. Now, Wang Tiles are very hard to explain, but basically it's a way of color coding each edge of your tile, so your tile engine has the ability to automatically procedurally fill in dead spaces based off the relationship between tiles. It's a lot like the existing auto tile system, and fills a very similar role, but it has more capability and a hell of a lot more setup. Plus, the tools are much younger here, so expect some teething pains in using them. There's also object templates now that can be reused, and context-sensitive toolbars, etc. So there's a lot in this 1.1 release. Now, if you're interested in grabbing it, Tiled is available at mapeditor.org. You go ahead here, download on itch.io. You can pay to download it, or you can go completely free. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. Also, it's an open source project supported by Patreon, sort of like myself if you're interested. But if you want to support the Patreon page for Tiled, they do have a link there as well. Fully open source code is available on GitHub. It is a C++ based project. The framework they used is the Qt framework. The code is quite clean, so if you're looking at a basis for creating your own 2D map editor, it's another thing to check out. But one of the really cool and powerful things about the Tiled map editor, which I will bring up in front of us now, is that it is probably the lingua franca of 2D maps. Basically, every single game engine supports tiled maps to some degree. And there's another area that changed. There's also some more exporting options from Tiled. So you see here, this is your typical level editor. You can see a level in effect here. We got various different layers we can toggle on and off. You see we got foreground, parallax layers, basically Z ordering going on, parallax in the background there, etc. So your traditional painting style schemes, you've got your various different layers for composing things. You can bring objects into the world, entities that are going to make up your world that, these aren't quite tiles per se, although we can also bring in tile sets often, so painting basically in a grid. This one is an object-based map. You see here you've got your mini-map. You can navigate around in it. You got various different properties for tiles. So for example, let's go in here and go to the, game layer, for example. And we'll go to the objects view for game layer. So game. So you see here you've got your various different pieces, your coins, and you can see you can attach properties to each item you place in the world. So you can see here is a coin, here's a coin, here's a coin. You put text labels in, such as this incredibly intuitive block label. Or we've got like our hero entity over here. Now you can also see you can apply different properties to game objects that are implemented in your world. You can apply custom properties. You could add a new property as you wish. You can make it of any one of these particular types, and it will be exported along with your map data. They've also got additional functionality. Obviously, you saw the layering support, multiple different tiles. We'll look at Wang tiles and tiles in terrain in a second. But you basically use this to compose your 2D game. Once your game is created, you come on up here, you go File, and you can export as. And you'll see your export options are their TMX/XML format for the data, the tile map, and then the tile sets that go with it. You can export it like that format, and that format is very commonly importable in various different game engines. I believe there's an importer for the Godot game engine. There's a Phaser has one. I believe Corona has one. Pretty much every 2D game engine has a TMX importer of some form, as do most libraries such as libgdx, SFML, Love, you name it. It probably supports tiled TMX file natively, but you can also export as CSV or comma separated value. You can actually, and this is a new feature, you can export it as a Game Maker room. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Game Maker, I just featured Game Maker 2.x in the Closer Look series. Just check the channel. That was just released. You can also export it as JSON or Lua script, or JavaScript, or as a Lua script. So you've got a lot of options for how your map will be encoded and can be read into your game. And this also makes it very easy to incorporate tiled into your own pipeline. So if you have your own engine but don't want to create your own level editor, that is when tiled really shines. Now you're seeing a standard side perspective game going on here, such as Mario Kart would typically, Mario Brothers would typically be, but this is not your only option. As you can see here, you can set up a custom perspective map, like so. Oh, I have an object selected, and you'll see we can actually zoom in and out. We can go in, your different menus are up here depending on what you've got selected. We can actually even do polygonal shapes in our world. So if you want to do custom collision layers, etc., that weren't tile-based, or you wanted to make triggers or AI paths, you name it, you've got these custom tools available here for creating points, ellipses, polygons, a polyline, and then you got your tile and other features like so. So if we come back down here, you'll see our tile set. We've got the various different tiles, and then painting is as simple as dropping them in the grid. Your grid obviously is completely configurable. You've got snapping settings for making, fine adjusting things in there. You've got functionality for rotating your tiles, etc. But basically creating your levels is normally just as simple as what you're seeing right here. And on top of your, so this is a perspective set up, and this particular setting has 3 different layers, lower walls, upper walls, etc., to give you this 3D illusion that we're seeing here, because this is ultimately a 2D map. You see here, we got nice performance, zooming in and out, panning around, etc. And another very common one, so we've got perspective, but we've also got isometric options, so you can configure your map when you're creating it. So if I create a new map, like so, I have the option for orthogonal, isometric or hexagonal maps, and then you can configure your stepping of each tile. And then again, the new option here, you no longer have to tell it how big it is. You can simply make your map infinite in size, and it will allocate memory as your map grows. Cancel that out. I'm not going to create anything, but you see here we've got a isometric map going on, and I come down here, I can pick up, here is the particular tiles that go together to create this. So if I wanted to put this little blotch of land in the middle there, I can do so. But what you would normally do here is we are creating your terrain. So you can actually paint with a terrain brush here, and this is where either your auto tile, which I can demonstrate elsewhere, but if you go through my my tutorial series I link down below, I've got a full tutorial on auto tile, so I'm not going to get into that one too much. But anyways, the new star of the day is actually Wang Tiles. Now, a Wang Tile, as I mentioned, uses basically color coding for each different edge to determine what edge of a certain place can go against an edge of another tile. I can show you this in effect by going to the tile set. All right, so we want to go to the icons down here, and you'll notice they are very, very small in a 4K resolution. But if we go properly, oops, here we go. Go properly, we have, I don't want remove, I want edit. And this will bring up your tile set editor. Here's where you can do some pretty cool stuff. For one, you can actually define polygonal, collision maps for your tile using polygon tools here. So we can set tile collision editor here, and then for each tile basically paint the polygons around them where the collisions are going to turn. But what we're actually looking at today is Wang Tiles, and here is an example of Wang Tiles, and I'll zoom this in later on. But you've got different colors going on, and those are colors to colors, and those things are going to match accordingly. So you can see down here your various different patterns being created. There's your colors. You got your grass and water. So basically, blue and blue is water to water, green to green is grass to grass. But what this ultimately allows you to do is we go on back here, and we'll go to terrains. We will pick water, and I can now paint with water, and you'll see it automatically creates the right transition. So here we are, just turning a lot of our land into water. Pretty cool stuff. So that's how the Wang Tiles or Auto Tiles, depending on which technology you use, you can use this to automatically have it create good transitions between different types, and you can have it be much more advanced. Here we've just got the two terrain types, water and grass, but you could have water, grass, cobblestone, road, asphalt, dirt, etc., and it would automatically know how to do the interpolation between the two types if they basically share a common color in your definition when you went into your editing of your terrain. So here we go back to water, and you see I can actually add water here into the middle of the map. And once again, this Wang technology is almost identical to auto tiling. There are two ways to accomplish the same basic thing, but again, the Wang tiles are more detailed, more information available, so they are more capable of being used for procedural development. So that is one of the big new developments that is in the Tiled 1.1 map editor. And again, that's really all we're going to cover today. I don't want this video to be too long because I am curious to see how long it is going to take me to encode this in 4K. So I will do some zooming when we actually are looking at the icons so you can actually see what we're doing. But do let me know. First off, have you used Tiled? If you haven't, I do recommend you check it out. It's a great program. Again, completely free, open source, definitely worth checking out, and very actively developed. This 1.1 release is a pretty major release. There is a lot that was fixed. If I bring back up the full release notes, let's see, here we go. You will see, yeah, they added a lot. You know, some of it's just bug fixes, but yeah, it's an impressive release. There is a decent amount of new functionality in here. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Tiled for a while, do be sure to check it out. And again, if you want to learn more about Tiled, check down below for the link. I did a 4 or 5 part video series, but I have a homepage for the entire series available on Game From Scratch. And it's an excellent little tool you should definitely check out if you don't already have a good 2D map editor. So let me know about 4K, let me know about Tiled, let me know how your holiday went, let me know all of that stuff in the comments down below. And hopefully you should be hearing from me a lot more now that the new year is here and it's about time to get back fully to work. So I will talk to you all soon. Hope you enjoyed that. See you all later. Goodbye.